What's up, guys? Welcome back. My name is Luke, and I'm joined by.
Hey, what up, guys? It's Chris, but you already knew that. Welcome back to another one.
So today's, I think I smiled too much there.
There's no such thing as smiling
That's
too
like
much.
this. Okay, cool. So today's topic, Okay, I'll need your opinion on this.
For example, I'm going to say this controversially. We tie ourselves to my location.
Sure.
You know, like we're from Kokasi, and if you're not black, if you're not from Kokasi, whatever. But if we look at history, the locations are concentration camps.
Yeah.
Essentially, that's what they are.
I've often argued that Casio is not meant to be a happy place.
No, it's not.
So don't judge people who want to get out.
And that's why I don't tell, sorry to say this, Kasi stories.
You don't romanticize
No,
it.
I don't. I don't romanticize poverty porn. I don't romanticize this. If you're telling me about Sipume Laleni or something like that, you know, I can respect the village life, because for me, a village person is way wealthier than somebody. Yeah. It's not even a comparable.
Yeah.
You know, someone who can do subsistence farming is much wealthier. And in my films and etc., I either show black affluence in terms of a modern society, or black affluence regarding our traditional values.
Sure.
And I try to remember, you know, just to preach the message, which is, there's a reason why a lot of negative things happen in Kokasi. They were designed to be like that.
It's not meant to be a nice place.
No, it was designed that. So a little, if you know your history, though, you'll understand that.
Okay. So what do you think, bro? What do you think?
You know, looking at it a second time, I can't help but disagree with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And there's 2 points that stood out this time hearing it again.
Okay.
Firstly, it's the context of where he was like, he doesn't want, or the Kasi was never meant to be a good place.
Yes, it's meant to be concentration camp.
Exactly. Yeah. Historically, that's what it was.
Okay, yes.
Historically. Yeah. Now, you must understand that narratives do change and times do change. So what once was considered a concentration camp, by virtue of time, circumstances, and the very people that are in there that mold the place, could change it from its intended purpose to a whole different purpose.
Exactly.
So
what was meant to kill you.
Exactly. So what was meant to like restrict, like keep you below, or make you a second-class citizen, or put you under the system, is actually a place where you can call home, and a place that has some sort of meaning to you.
That's the thing.
So yeah, that's the first one I'm looking at, and I feel like people should be allowed to tell Kasi stories.
That's the thing. For me, you know, like when we spoke about this, I actually disagreed with this whole point, and now I'm still disagreeing. Because one of the thing is, it's a slippery slope, right? To some extent, you're trying to say that everyone who's still there is somehow backward, oppressed,
underdeveloped.
Exactly, not wanting to succeed. They are lazy.
That couldn't be further from the truth.
Exactly. So it's quite a slippery slope. And not only that, I mean, like I said, this places mold you. They made you who you are. And I understand every place has its own negative side to it. Yeah, it does. Like, I'm sure you guys can actually attest to that. Every place has its negative side to things. But then again, we cannot overlook the goodness that this places come with.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking at two sides of the coin. Yes, there are some pretty bad things that happen there, but you can't, in the same breath, you can say that there are some great things that happen there. And in recent times, what we're seeing coming out of places like this, quote unquote, Kasis, tend to be a lot more positive than they are negative.
That's true.
At least that's what we get from our media feed and all these success stories. I mean, yes, you guys might argue that, yeah, that's what makes it onto the newsreel, and all the other bad things you don't hear about. Maybe that may be the case, but it doesn't take away from the fact that there is some good that can and does come out of these places.
Exactly. I mean, the mere fact that you are there sitting and you can somehow express yourself and somehow tell this side to it's because of the places, bro. Like we said on when we spoke about this whole topic, it's the past actually makes the present, right? And for the most part, you can't go forward without realizing the past.
Yeah. What was before is somehow going to be or is going to repeat itself again, right? There is no novelty in essence, novelty in some certain things. So therefore, to some degree, the future does depend on what already happened or the past.
Exactly. And also another thing is like what for me it's just the demonization of like indirectly people that live in the castles. That's the one thing. I don't know if they didn't see that. It's like you demonizing everyone that lives there, man.
Yeah, I mean, it gave off that vibe, hey?
Yeah,
it did give off
bro.
I'm even like, I'm tempted to say condescending vibe towards people.
No, he did. To the point where you're saying I can't tell Cassie's stories. Oh, brother. Yo, wow. So what stories are you going to tell?
But then my second point again, and this is why I rethought it and immediately disagreed, is that you know how he was like, he'd celebrate somebody who said they come from the villages more than a person who says they come from the Kasi.
Okay.
Here's a glaring fact. Not everybody comes from villages. Some people were born and bred in the Kasi, and not just first generation.
Okay, but what's the difference between a Kasi and a village?
Okay, here's the thing, and many people might find this controversial. A Kasi would be in the outskirts of a big city, one could say, right?
Okay.
Therefore, it is more modernized than a village. A village would be a very remote area, far away from any large urban areas, basically.
Okay, but is it not a community still?
It is.
That's
both got senses of community, absolutely.
Okay, but what's the difference? Does it not still carry the same element as a community?
No, but here's the thing, right? And this is where this man's argument might fall flat. If you're going to talk about it from a development point of view, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to say it's much better to say you're not from the Kasi if you're looking at it from a development point of view. Okay. You're not making any sense, because if you're talking development-wise, let's talk about measurable development, infrastructure, etc., etc., etc. One could comfortably argue that the Kasi has a lot more to offer than the village.
No, that's very true. That's very true. But don't you think if the Kasi has much more to offer, don't you think people in the Kasi are better off than people in the village, and therefore his comparison falls flat?
Absolutely. To some extent. Not every single metric, obviously, but if you're looking at it purely on development, because that's what I'm getting, right? It's like, because then he did mention something, and it's another point of controversy, but I'm going to stand by what I believe in, right?
Okay,
he did say, he was like, it's great because, like, if somebody came from the village, they most probably would be a subsistence farmer, and that's a great skill to have. And I agree with them.
Okay, how are you going to employ that in the concrete city?
In a concrete city, it's very difficult. More like gardening, more like like a house garden. But then I've always said, as far as agriculture goes, it's much better to do it at scale than at subsistence level.
Yeah, so it falls flat again. Because if I'm aiming to move from my village to the city, how am I going to employ those skills?
But then again, you must understand why people make that migration in the first place, right? Why is it? I think the question is, why do people opt to move to the city, right, from the village? And in the case where they do move to the city, a gateway to living in the city, like within the city, might be to start off in the Kasi. Because it's got elements of the city in.
It's a training ground.
Do you know what I'm saying? Right?
Yeah.
So why do people make that migration to begin with? Why do people make that migration?
It's because, well, they want better opportunities.
Exactly.
Jobs.
There it is. Not to say that you can't create the same in the villages, but already there's some sort of modernized, quote unquote, economy in the Kasi that would trump the village economy.
By far.
So, like, yes, I get it. Like, okay, fine. We don't want to romanticize poverty. Nobody does, bro.
It's not romantic. Okay, but in what way? The thing is, he was not specific with.
Even that.
Romanticize poverty.
It was an overgeneralization.
Not only that, it was somehow indirect criticism with no valid points to back it up.
Straight up.
Yeah, no. So you was talking bullshit.
Yeah, I'm clearly the nice one.
No,
I'm the nice one.
I actually don't get his point. It's the same thing where, and I'm sure he's the type to praise white communities.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he did, because clearly the message is, because again, he was like, I wouldn't blame people who want to leave and go somewhere better. And again, I wouldn't either, because look, if you want to improve your life, you understand that there's more opportunities outside the Kasi setting, right? Fine, that's okay. But then it just adds weight to what you're saying. He's got a tendency to do that, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did advocate for more affluent, whiter communities as opposed to the Kasi.
But leaving the Kasi is not as a result of it being toxic. It's just as progress. I mean, imagine you found a job in Pretoria and you just decided, let me move close to my job. It's not that I want to leave the Kasi, it's just that my job requires me to be in Pretoria.
Have we forgotten the fact that there's a lot of affluence in the Kasi already? Like, there's some areas there,
The way developed, bro.
that people who are very, very well off decide to live there by choice.
Have you seen
Protea Glen, Orlando?
Exactly, I was about to mention
Bruv.
Orlando.
Orlando is better than my hood, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Okay, it looks better than my hood. I don't live there, so I can't say otherwise. But you know what I'm saying? Yes, people are building back home in the villages, but will it get to the level of development that the Kasi is on? That's gonna take a very long time. I'm telling you. If anything, the Kasi has a better chance of getting more developed and trying to match the level of the city.
Yeah.
On which it depends,
Than the village.
Than the village does to getting to that same level.
So yeah, their point falls flat. And more, I've never seen no white person bash their hometown. Okay, I know I've seen, bash their hometown, but I've not seen it to the same degree that we do it as black people. Like, we paint. Normally, the thing is, who makes the Kasis? People. Now, indirectly talking negative about the Kasis, you somehow painting your people black as well. You're using the same paintbrush.
Yep.
Yeah, and you therefore telling people that your people are not progressive, they are
violent,
etc. They're not smart enough to come out of these places because these places are so dark. They're like jungles.
Yeah, they're concentration camps. They're meant to keep you imprisoned, where we understand that might not always be the case.
It's not the case, bro. It's not the case. The thing is, there are different factors that play a part, bro. In all this, it's not that people are not ambitious. Just different factors, uncontrollable factors.
Many factors. Many factors. If you're going to talk about it from a purely socio-economic point of view, you understand the costs that come with living in the city. I mean, you can attest to that as much as I can. It's really expensive to live in mainland Johannesburg, right?
It is.
Even if you're working a decent job, you find that what's it called? Lifestyle inflation easily catches up with you.
Cost of living
is high. What if you're like, okay, I could still maintain a decent level of living with this good salary, but then why don't I live somewhere that's slightly cheaper rent wise or something like that? You know what I'm saying?
Go back to your area
straight
because it's affordable. The thing is, it's not toxic. It's just people's decisions, bro.
Okay, but then what about the trade-offs that people make to do that? Like, obviously, we can't ignore that, okay, there are some pretty bad things about living in a low-income area, right? Like crime, etc., blah, blah, blah.
I actually would say crime in those areas is actually lower than crime out here.
Than in the city, city.
No, I'll actually argue for that. Because there is a sense of familiarity.
Yeah, true.
Right? And not only that, it's just there's that sense of community. So if a person was to become a thief in that community, it's very difficult unless you are coming from outside to do crime, to commit crime.
Actually, I've heard that. Like, I've never really stayed in a township myself.
Oh, no, I have.
You have. So you know. Yeah.
I have siblings who are living there.
Yeah, you know better than I do.
Relatives. So to this day, they still live there. So I did spend some time there.
I had friends growing up who told me the same thing, that everybody kind of knows everybody, right? It's a very close-knit community type thing.
Yes, it is.
So I can understand why, if you were to be a criminal in that community, it wouldn't take long for you to be found out, punished, or altogether expelled.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So CT, we don't know anybody.
Yeah,
so
no, it's
anyone can
big.
Come from anywhere and just commit. So
there's too many people here, bro. Like, and one of the things about the city is you don't want to be familiar with every Tom, Dick, and Harry because you know that's not safe.
It's not safe at all.
So it's like, even if I see something bad happening, I'm gonna mind my own business because it's like, yo, listen, that's them.
I don't
want to get involved in all that.
Exactly. So I actually disagreed with this, bro. No, Actually
Yeah,
disagree
no.
with this.
The more I think about it, the more I disagree with him.
Yeah, let's begin to look at the positive in where we're coming from. I do understand with every side to things there's a negative, but don't emphasize and magnify the negative of things to the point where the negativity becomes the whole entire picture.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, learn to look at the beautiful things to it, like the friendship, the relationship, the
Straight.
community, the sense of the growth, the mere fact that you're so ambitious and you dream so big is because of the places you come from. So, painting it in a black brush is just saying that, yeah, these places did not benefit you in any way, or were not useful to you, which is ironic because they are you. You
Yeah.
know, your identity was molded from these places. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, any last word?
No, I think just adding on to your point, yeah, overgeneralizing it, not a good idea. There can be some positive that you can draw from it, yes, of course. The negative things, yeah, they're there, obviously. But then again, it's got to just speak to the individual as well. That's another thing, right? Like,
Okay.
just because you're from a low income area doesn't mean that you've got a regressive mindset or you don't think big enough or whatever. That's not the case. I mean, bro, we can come up with receipts of people who have done amazing things
Exactly.
and their background wasn't stellar, okay?
For the most part.
And the opposite is true. Just because you're from a affluent area doesn't mean you're brilliant and you're going to do amazing things,
No,
right?
not at all.
So it's the individual aspect of it as well. Like, yeah, you can say some people, but then again, it's like not the rule, right?
It's
So
not.
yeah,
It doesn't apply. So yeah, that's that. So yeah, that's it from us, guys. Please don't forget to leave your comments below. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share. And don't forget to subscribe. We really appreciate it. And I guess we'll be seeing you on the next one.
ciao.
Ciao.